Well, just in case the last introduction didn't quite work out from the Phantom, then hello again, or if it didn't work, hello. This is MLD reservoir. So you can see the dam of MLD reservoir just down there. It's quite breezy, so I'm trying to speak into the mic as best I can. The water is very low. You can see quite a bit of gravel around. It looks like there's a few people just up on the top of that hill, just coming off. Looks like 3, 5, 10. There's at least a dozen people there. So there's quite a few coming off. There's a few cows. I was told there's a bull in this field, so I'll keep an eye out for him. That's where that triangle of trees are, or half a triangle of trees. That's the field that I filmed earlier on with the cows in. I never did see the bull, not until I was out of the field, and then I saw the farmer chivying this massive great brown thing with his quad bike. So it reminded me of me a bit, obstinate. So that was the bull he was trying to move about. So I got down the bottom down there. I wanted to get some water, so I got some water a little bit further up the waterfall, or the river. It's quite popular down the bottom. You get quite a few sort of tourists and things like that. So I don't fancy taking the water from down lower. But once you come up further up, then you're above where they are. In fact, it turned out there's this valley just down here that has its own small water course. So I actually took the water from this valley down here. My sort of unplanned plan was to go along this hill here up to those pillboxes, and then from there over to, I think it's Rotor in the distance. But it turned out that getting the water brought me down here up this hill. So I think I can still get to Rotor in that direction, or I can head to Yestor. It doesn't really matter because both are pretty much in that direction, heading for Furtor. And I just I think I'm feeling a bit lazy today. For one reason or another, I just haven't done quite so many walks recently as the videos have obviously shown, or not shown. So I don't think I've quite got my my walking legs at the moment. So I just thought I'd stop here just for a moment. I've had something to eat and then I'll get going again in a minute. Well, this behind me is West Mill Tor. If I point the camera over there, that is East Mill Tor. And that small one just down there, that's Rotor or Rotor. I'll probably get all the names mispronounced. If you're if you're not into you know, a lot of walking and you just want short walks and you're in this area, then just down there there's the military road. You are actually allowed to bring the car up and park down there. You can't go any further, that's as far as you can go. So from there you've got an easy path and you could get up to Rotor, or you've got a slightly steeper climb up to West Mill Tor, which, as I say, is this one here. And get up here and you've got some pretty spectacular views from the top. So the time now is about 2 o'clock. It's clouding up a little bit, so hopefully it won't rain. And the plan, I think, would be to head... Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, that sheep just told me the plan. So I don't need to go any further, he's just told you the plan. there's a track just down here somewhere or other, so we'll head down to the track. In fact, there's some people, again, you may not be able to see it, it might be a bit too far away, but maybe on a big television you might just be able to make out two people, one in red, looks like one in blue. I've just had a stop at Dartmoor. There's a few pods around today. I've seen more today than I have, mind you, I've been here for a while, but still it is very early September still. But I've seen a few pods around today. Right, yeah, I'm on Dartmoor, and just on the horizon you can just make out somewhere back there. It's the one hopefully right in the middle with a rock on the top, and that is Trailstar. And it's very, very deceptive because that looks a hell of a long way away, but it's only about 5 kilometers, which is what, about 3 miles maximum. But I mean, to look at it you think, oh my god, that must be like, you know, 100 miles away. Not literally that, but it does look a heck of a long way away. So I think if people are out here walking, it's surprising how much land you can cover and not realise it, you know, if that makes any sense. Sounds a bit Irish to me, but anyway. And obviously that's Trailstar just over there. Oh, I've a couple of slight alterations. I've used an X-Ped dry bag to put the Phantom in, and I've used an X-Ped dry bag there and there for the battery and the monitor, mainly for extra protection of the bag, really, because the Cuben fibre bags that I was using, they're excellent inside the pack. I don't have any problems there, but I'm a little bit wary, cautious of having them outside exposed to all the elements and everything, so that's why I've gone back to these. A tiny bit heavier, but I think being on the outside of the pack, I think it's worth it there. I've just sort of stopped here just for a second. That's little knee set, the little hill, little green hill on the, well, in the distance, and then obviously Trailstar is the big rocky thing on the horizon. And I just wanted to show behind, you can just make out you can just make out a great knee set. Yes, I seem to have this very bad habit of not really looking where I'm actually going. I tend to look down far too much, so I never really sort of look around where I'm actually sort of going. I tend to look at what more where my feet are going. So in consequence, I've ended up in this bog, because it's in a direct line to where I actually want to go. Now, if I'd have walked or been looking up, I probably would have walked around the bog. Instead, I'm, well, part of the bog now. I seem to have sunk several inches into it. I think I can get across okay, but it's going to be yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I've had my feet dry. My feet were dry until well, certainly Dartmoor. They started to get a bit damp after Dartmoor, but it was only coming down here that they started to get. I can't turn very well because I'm sort of pretty much, my feet are sort of pretty much stuck where they are, really. I don't move until I've got my poles in my hand. Well, I've got something in my hand anyway. Or it's the lens cap. Right, yeah, so I've got to extricate myself from this bog. And I am now nearly out of the bog. I am now part of the flora and fauna. I'm now part of the reeds and everything now. They're almost as, either I've sunk a bit or they're as tall as I am. So yeah, got a few reeds here. I don't know what they are. Grassy things. Right, well, I've got the Cuben Trailstar out again, and when you're on pretty reasonable ground, or in this case excellent ground, you can get a really good pitch on this now. And this is probably one of my best pitches. Mind you, I ought to have been pitching it enough. I ought to be getting it right by now. But this really has to be one of my best pitches. It's probably pitched at a fraction higher than I'd normally pitch, but it is summer, so a few gaps underneath isn't a problem, and obviously pitching it lower isn't a problem either. That's the beauty of the Trailstar or any tap. You can pitch it at any height. You're not limited to you know, to what the manufacturers of a normal tent dictate you should pitch it at. Something like this, within reason, you know, you can pitch it at any height. And again, I can compensate for the ground as well. So so even though it's pitched, obviously the actual material is pitched at the same height, but the back is lower to the ground. I can only assume that's I'm not expert enough on these things, but I can only assume that's to obviously the shape of the ground. It's you know, it's doing whatever it's doing. Anyway, that's getting far too technical for me. I've got a really decent ground sheet now. This is a Mountain Laurel Designs ground sheet, which Ron kindly sent to me a couple of months ago. But of course, because there have been bugs around and that sort of thing with summer, I've never actually laid it out. So I'm going to pin that down. The only slight downside with Ron's ground sheets, and I hate to criticise Ron, and it's not really a criticism at all, but are these mitten hooks. To be honest, I would prefer line locks on them, and then you could run bungee cord through, and then the bungee cord would go to pegs, which would be in a way easier. But I've brought spare pegs, and you could argue actually, and maybe that's what Ron is thinking, that once you're out, if it's piddling it down with rain, you can actually then peg this out, so you don't actually need to leave the shelter at all, rather than trying to get your hands underneath, or in my case with the other sheet that I was using. You know, I used to have to get out and go around and peg it out, but with that I can just put pegs in. I suppose it swings and roundabouts. But I'll peg this out, and then I'll show that to you once that's pegged out. Right, so this is the lovely, this really does look nice, Mountain Laurel Designs, a couple of name drops there, ground sheet, which Ron has custom built for the Trailstar. As you can see, it's shaped to fit back there, and I've just pegged the four corners out over there, and that was actually quite easy to peg out. So to be honest, it probably is worth bringing the 4 pegs just to secure it down. did a tiny bit of filming with the Phantom quadcopter, but I flew it over or near Little Niset and over or near Furtor. As it was you know, cooling off a little bit outside, even though the sun is quite warm. It's very warm in here, to be honest. The Cuben Trailstar is a bit like a greenhouse. So I've got into bed now. I know everybody seems to be absolutely fascinated by my legs, so this is what I've done. Turn off now. If you turn off now, I've put my socks on, although technically speaking, actually I might take them off for a minute. Don't need them on for the moment. Yeah, so really I've just sort of just lying in bed with the, you know, the edge of the sleeping bag here sort of just covering, no, not covering up, covering the essentials, or non-essentials, I don't know which at the moment. And then, yeah, the old legs are just out airing at the moment. So yeah, one last look at the famous legs. I think someone actually suggested I ought to get them in short for these videos. Probably about right. Right, yeah, so that's enough of that. I brought the Innovate 235s. Most of you are probably familiar with oh hello, there's a pair of legs again. With what's around here. I've just brought lightweight waterproofs, which I haven't needed thankfully, and my wind shirt there, which I had on and off, to be honest, because one minute it was warm then it was cool. The sealskin socks are my waterproof socks. Don't wear them during the day, 3-season, but they're handy in camp for when I get to camp. Take the wet socks off, dry my feet, put those on, and then obviously my feet are then dry inside those, and then I can put my wet shoes back on, and of course my feet will stay dry. And my leggings, which I wear in the sleeping bag at night, and first aid kit in there, and torch over there. In there I've got the I think my phone charger in there, so I need to get that out in a minute. T-shirt is in there if I need it, and my down jacket is in there. And one last look at my infamous, or is it famous, legs. There must be some poor sod out there who'd be interested in them. They're going at a cheap rate at the moment. Right, that's enough of gratuitous foot advertising and leg advertising. Well, good morning. The time is 6:15. I'm half asleep as usual. Eyes are probably watery. That was a good night's sleep actually. I do recommend this camping lark. Although if you're going to go camping, go to a campsite. Don't mess up these wild spaces. Campsites are much more enjoyable. Not that I've ever been to one, but I'm sure they're much nicer than in the middle of nowhere. But, oh yeah, I had a good night's sleep though. It's quite cosy. So, the mists are in today. Can just make out the hill on the other side of the valley over there, but only just. I know that the way back is in that direction, but obviously I've got map and compass. And to be honest, by the time I actually get going in the next hour and a half or so, they might have started lifting a bit. I've put water on there for tea and have some breakfast in a minute. Well, as you can see, it's still quite misty out here. Visibility is probably, I don't know, 100 meters, if that. I took last night I took a compass bearing from camp. If I can just see the sun there, it's trying to burn through. yeah, last night I took a compass bearing from camp. It's not exactly scientific, and probably scorned upon by all the navigators out there, but I took a compass bearing from camp to the ridge between Chat Tor and Great Links Tor. So that's approximately the line that I'm following. When I get a little bit nearer, I can decide whether I need to alter things, because obviously I'm going across this ridge here, which will take me down to I think it's Rattlebrook, I guess. Anyway, down to a stream or a brook, which is the brook that Bleak House is on, and of course Green Tor, which are probably more in sort of, won't be able to see it of course, but probably slightly in that direction. Although, as I say, you know, I could end up hitting that anyway, but I'm just on a rough line. I just want to hit that brook, and then once I hit that, I can then start climbing up for the, you know, for the ridge leading up between Great Links and Chat Tor. It's pretty easy going, this terrain around here. It's a bit tough underfoot, a bit wet and boggy. It's not really tussocky, it's just sort of quite grassy. There's very few, if any, paths to follow. Most of the paths laid down by, you know, sheep and cattle and things like that. But it is still pretty easy going. I mean, you can see, you know, it's not difficult along here. Just mind your feet. But I just thought I'd show you my rather ad hoc navigation technique. Well, that's a fair Tor there. So I was camped at the foot of it, not far from the water. So I took a bearing from there all the way over to about where my thumb is, which is that. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's about a bearing of about 5 kilometers away. So don't go telling any navigation experts, because they would say navigate to a few hundred meters or something. But anyway, it's for here. It works. Well, it worked for me anyway, because at the moment I knew I had to go across here, which is sort of level, and you go down a bit over some water, and then start cresting this ridge here. And I knew I wouldn't be up on the high part over here. So you can see the mists are actually clearing a bit now. So you can see obviously there the hill is going up that way, down that way. And I think now we can actually just start to make out, you know, some a few things on the horizon over in that direction. So obviously once the mists clear, it'll be even easier. But I guessed, going by the terrain, that I was approximately in this neck of the woods here. So I then, for the sheer fun of it, thought, right, let's get the phone out, get the GPS on. So you can see there, that's pretty much where I was guessing we were. And if I was thinking I was near the 500 meter line, which I didn't actually say a minute ago, but I was thinking I was near the 500 meter line, and I am actually. And then the point of arrow is pointing approximately towards, well, it's just to the left of Green Tor, isn't that? Which is sort of where I was aiming for, give or take. I was probably aiming slightly more to the left, sort of in between Chat Tor and Great Links. But anywhere along there would have done me just fine. And of course, just quickly, I hope the sound's okay, I've just taken the microphone off. But of course, if I'd have thought of it back at camp, I should have taken a height reading on my watch, and then that would have given me an approximate height on this hill as well. So using an altimeter watch, or an altimeter, is pretty handy, as well, as long as you keep it accurate. So that's helpful as well. Pretty accurate navigating for the top of that ridge. As I say, Great Links is over there, Chat Tor, which we can't see, is over there, and I want the middle of that ridge. And we've got a whole load of friends over here. If you remember in the past, when I've camped over here, I've aimed for a Bleak House, which is down in the valley down there. I think that's Green Tor. So you've got Great Links Tor over there. That's the start of it. As you may be able to see if you've got a big screen. That's one end, or so that's two little tors sort of above Bleak House. And then Great Links Tor is that one just through there. Well, I'm just up on Brat Tor. The car park's just down that way. I just stopped here for a minute. I usually sort of film here if I'm coming up here from the start of a walk. Just thought I'd finish filming here today. And once again, thank you for watching, and sorry I've not been filming quite so much. I've been a bit sort of tied up, but we'll no doubt be out again soon, and I'll do some more flying with the Phantom soon, I'm sure, as well. So as I say, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all again soon. Bye bye.